Hi, welcome to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Thanks for joining the conversation. The Mimi and Greg Show is back. What can I say except it's good to chat with my dear friend and writer of amazing things, Greg Rucka. Per our usual style, we discuss a potpourri of topics from politics to film production. I really missed Greg, and I'm excited that we will be back on a semi-regular schedule now that my legislation is over and his projects are wrapping up nicely. For those that don't already know, Greg Rucka is a New York Times best-selling author of hundreds of comics and nearly 24 novels. He is also the writer for his critically acclaimed and award-winning film, The Old Guard, starring Charlize Theron. I'm loving these conversations and hope you are too. If you are, please rate my podcast on your platform of choice and share it with others. If you would like to support with a donation to help keep this podcast going and support the work I do, you can become a patron of the show by visiting my website or patreon.com/SifuMimiChan. For comments or suggestions, reach out on social media at SifuMimiChan. Now, on with the show. Hello, Greg.
hello, Mimi. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Whenever you and I speak, it's like, is this pre-roll? Is this podcast? Is this, who knows?
You know, you could just start right in on this.
Sounds good.
You're
Sounds
really
good.
So.
You know, I haven't seen you since November, which is like a crime.
Christ, it's been that long?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's been, yeah. Yeah. It's been a thing.
Right.
So.
It's been a thing. Well, it's like holidays. And then for me, Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
And my Chinese New Year lasted actually until March this year. So it was just everyone wanted to keep celebrating. They didn't want that to end. It's like this, you know, we're still in celebration, then nothing else exists.
I can understand wanting to keep the good times rolling. So, you know.
Yeah, it's just like staying in our little happy bubble so that when we exit there, you and I, of course, pointed out earlier where I live and how popular we are and notorious, infamous. I don't know. What are the better adjectives? You're the writer.
Look, man, somebody really, really wants the nomination. And somebody really, really, really wants fascism and thinks that running on a authoritarian fascist platform is going to get him elected.
Yeah.
And it may work. So, you know, but you know, we're still reaping those delicious rewards. It's
so funny because you said, "Oh, I think of you all the time," but I'm like, "Oh, I think about you all the time." Also.
Yeah, Oregon isn't in the news quite as much for the same reasons.
No, definitely not for the same reasons. But I don't think of you in reference to like Oregon. I think about you more like comics or, oh man, I wish I could talk to Greg about this subject. If I'm hearing my like little 5-minute daily news snippet, I'm like, Greg would have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, we sip at the news instead of drinking from the fire hose.
It's all we can do for sanity, as you know, we've discussed for however many years now we've been doing this.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I woke up to see that Elon's giant booster penis blew up 4 minutes after launch. So,
okay.
This is the problem, right? There are so many people involved in that project who are not vile, nasty human beings. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's got his name on it.
Exactly.
So there's this element of Schadenfreude. And then also I stopped myself and I'm like, man, that's a lot of work and a lot of effort. And, you know, and I say this, having done this very recently, boy, do we learn from our failures, you know? So, and I suppose it's good always to remember space travel, difficult, dangerous. So.
Wow. Those are two really simple, but pertinent rules.
We forget. We forget, you know, and
it's true.
It came up yesterday on a call I had, but I was thinking about, you know, I remember watching the Challenger blow up on TV.
Me too. And I was pretty young, but I remember it.
Yeah. and that was, I remember being excited about that launch in a sea of launches that to me at that age were always exciting, but it was also given as a thing that, yeah, you did it. It was easy. It had become easy. It had become normalized. And, the reminder of it being, no, it's nothing about it is easy. I mean, nothing about it is easy. If you look at the science, if you look at what is required, I mean, just it's an absurdly difficult proposition to begin with, and then the staggering repeated successes have eroded that difficulty in the public eye. I think people go, oh, so it's interesting that at least I woke up to that and not, oh, there was a school shooting. And it's like, okay.
I guess we take that as the win. Oh, wow. We really lowered the bar here.
This is what I mean.
Well, you brought up the Challenger, and actually, because I am in Florida, we actually all went outside as a school assembly to watch. So we watched that and we said something's not right, because we've seen many launches, because in Florida we would always watch them. And I remember, and then we all went in and watched the news, and it was just devastating, because that's the one with the teacher and all of it. Like it was
Krista,
so that is
Krista McAuliffe.
Yes, that is so in my mind. So in my mind. So, and it's funny because you were talking about space travel and how it's not that it's recreational, but like I was thinking about that show For All Mankind, because it just shows you like, should we be rushing to do XYZ, because it is dangerous and difficult.
And look, I mean, we've discussed the fact that I am an amateur physics nerd. Like I know just enough about physics to be wrong about physics, right? But I have never been one of these, one of those folks who ascribes to the, what's the point? It's a waste of money. It's a boondoggle and so on. I think that the merits for simply who we are as humans, and as I think I think it was Carl Sagan who I don't know if it was Sagan who initially floated it, but the idea that we are the way the universe perceives itself, right? That you look at all of the life on this planet and our evolution to where we are now as sentient creatures who have created an advanced civilization and can itself interrogate and ask these questions outside of ourselves. And that's not to diminish, the merit of being a squirrel and asking yourself the question of where is dinner? And, where is mate, and where is warm, and where is next summer, right? These are the things I do. Yeah. But, it is, I think, I do believe it's fundamental to the human condition to want to explore and to learn. Definitely. And when we choose to abandon it for, quote, fiscal reasons, we are once again compromising ourselves on the altar of greed. Now, and it's the either or. Then you get whataboutism and either or arguments. You get the well, all that money NASA gets could be spent on public schools. It's like, or you could just spend the money on public schools. Right? It's not like the money for NASA took away from public schools.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're looking for where that money came from, I would direct you to the military, for instance, if that's the way you're going to pursue that argument to begin with. But I think the argument's a flawed argument inherently, right? It presupposes a value to the money being invested in these things. And so look, how'd we do? Took us 8 minutes. we're right back in the swing of it.
Yeah. Oh, I had no question or doubt that you
Yeah, it was like it's
right up from where we left off in whatever. I mean, we did have the training of COVID of weekly podcasts to really make sure that we had this down. I mean, the Mimi and Greg show, everybody.
Yeah, we don't need a beat or a lead in, really.
No, pretty much. I feel pretty confident with this one.
I do feel we should note, however, that this is very early for us normally.
Yes, it really is. When you told me 11 a.m. my time, I almost fainted. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I can get it out of the way and still have a day.
You're so early. This is early for you. Yeah. You're usually doing other things first.
Normally I'm up by 6.
Okay.
And this morning I wasn't, which is why I was a little late getting on.
It's okay.
But the coffee's doing its job and here I am. And I look, just as wretched as I always do. So we're good.
I don't think you look wretched.
Well, you're sweet. Normally what happens is I'll take Marlo for a walk and then I'll come back and we'll have our chat.
Right. Yeah.
This is a pre-Marlo walk.
Pre-Marlo. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is a new time for us. It's very interesting. Ironically, this is my normal podcast time.
Yeah, this is your good window.
This is my window. Yeah, this is my window. So this actually works. But you said something earlier about, there's all these really great people that work on it that aren't, assholes, but there is the asshole name on this thing. And I haven't spoken to you in a while, but I know that I'm in a legislative session and it's been a dogfight is a nice term for what's been happening, but I will tell you, I don't want to jinx it, but this is going to release after. So I'll already know what's happened, but I think I just saved the bill after like 48 hours of insanity. Like our bill was moving along really great through committees and House. Like we were pretty much set. The Senate stalled, but not because of lack of support. It just because they don't know how to prioritize or do any kind of scheduling, logistics and use of government time, blah, blah, blah. Waste of taxpayer dollars, doing special sessions, fighting Disney, blah, blah, blah. So we kind of got shafted and I had to go to Tallahassee and make magic basically happen. And I did, and we're kind of almost a guaranteed thing at this point because we've been amended to the big education bill, which means our law will be written, but it is on the big education law, which is the DOE's bill, which is the governor's bill. Right. But that guarantees us movement because it's kind of like this safe space, but at the same time, I have a lot of conflict about who gets to sign this into law and about, even being at that ceremony, right? I'm like, they're going to give me this pen maybe. And I'm just, me.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Oh yes. So I know, but we don't want that. And you don't want that publicity.
Yeah. It's so conflicted.
Take the win.
It's so conflicted, right? And so there's a thing, right? And I said, well, you know what? This isn't anybody else's bill, but Make Us Visible Florida, but our bill. And it's just because someone's signing it into law. It's not their bill, right? This is still our bill. And I have to kind of keep telling myself this because if I wait for a different governor or legislation or window, it may never come.
Wait. Yeah.
Right. And you can't wait.
And in that sense, I would posit that you are experiencing what the system should be in its best, right? Which is, look, it's compromise, right? You politics was the art of compromise, and then Fox News and Newt Gingrich decided that compromise was a dirty word. And so that has trickled down, right? Yeah. The guy is a reprehensible, performative piece of shit. I have no idea how much of what he is platforming on he actually believes.
Right.
And how much he is platforming on is, hey, you know what? It worked for Hitler and it worked for Trump. Right. But there is, in its own way, kind of, maybe look at it like this. He's got to sign it. because he's not going to not sign his own bill.
Right.
Right.
No, this is
so
why the
basically you have
was...
joint locked him into doing the right thing. Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of wading through sewage that you've had to do.
Yes.
But if he doesn't like it, his bill doesn't pass now. Right. Because he's going to have to be like, I don't like this provision. OK, great. Then you're going to cut off your nose to spite your face. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's, and that I would take some small joy in that, being like, I loathe and detest you, but you're going to make the thing I want happen.
Right. Yes, I needed you to frame that for me in a way of which, because obviously I'm thrilled because I went up there to save it, and I went up there. We couldn't even believe the bipartisan support we had garnered. Like we had over 45 co-sponsors, which is unheard of here in Florida and in general. Like you don't usually get that, and 15 on the Senate, 40, and it was just insane how well we were doing. And it was kind of like, what's happening? How did this even happen? Where are we? And I strategized, right? I learned from last year. We spoke to our lead sponsor from last year, and they were honest with us and said, you need a Republican to run this, and that's the only way it'll go. And I found people that I was willing to work with, and it actually turned out really great. And it gave me a little glimmer of hope that we can work across party lines when it's compartmentalization, and we're going to focus on this one issue, and that it can actually happen. So yeah, I don't want to jinx it because while we're recording, it's not done yet, but it's insane that literally yesterday I testified in that last hearing where it's amended onto that bill, and that bill is called literally the train. Like now I'm on for the ride. Like it's supposed to be there, and I'm just kind of mind blown.
Well, then contingent congratulations, and I expect to hear when it passes.
Yes, May 5. May 5, we'll know. It's all done. Well, we'll go to the floor next week, and then we'll see what happens after that. He's got to sign the dang thing, right? Yeah. So I'm like, and I want to be there to witness it because I want to make sure it happens.
That's and that's exactly it. It's like, I want to see you have to sign it now.
Thank you. I needed that. So, but I am ready for this chapter of my life to be over. It has been...
Yeah, you have another vacation planned?
Yeah, I've got lots of vacations planned.
Are you going to go to Disneyland before there's a prison next to it? God, talk about
I'm coming to Portland, Greg.
In September.
Yeah, but I am coming to Portland.
Yeah, in September. Oh. That's going to be a big show, Rose City.
Yeah.
I found out Nicola's going to be there, too.
I know. I made that happen. I don't know if you know the story, but Gene Ha and I were talking on air, and he told me he had never met Kelly Sue in person. And I said, what? How is this possible? You all worked on Historia, and I was doing the Historia, lineup. I said, we should just make this happen. Let's have a Historia rap party reunion. And I think we can make this happen. And literally I emailed Kelly Sue, and she loved the idea. And then the ball was rolling, and we're like, Nicola's got to come too. And then Rose City was like, yeah, let's do this. And now, and so wild times.
Yeah, you have managed actually to you have done two impossible things. You have you seem to have gotten this bill through, and you may get me to attend Rose City this year. So
yes, because that's what I was hoping for.
Well, look, I live here. Normally, I would be like, I'm not doing shows anymore.
I know.
There's not a whole lot of merit in me doing a show, at least in the U.S. But now
it's all your friends are going.
Well, and it's also with the Forged and other stuff. Yes. It's like, well, maybe we'll go out, and because Eric's nearby and Mike lives here in town.
Okay.
So it's like, well, maybe we should table and do a thing.
Yes, we should do a thing. And I will pitch it on and off air, but happy to do a thing there with you as well.
Happy to do a thing.
Yeah.
I figured it was a given that we would be doing a thing.
Okay. No pressure.
The last time you were in Portland, we did a thing.
Right.
And if nothing else, Marlo's going to want to know why she's not on camera again. So
of course, naturally. And I meant also at Rose City, if you're up for it, I'm sure they would be thrilled. So, but yes, I'm so excited
I don't want to
see you guys. No commitments.
I'm old and cranky now, and I don't want to have to reach out. I don't want to have to reach out to them and be like, all right, can I come to your show?
You want me? I'm already emailing them about other things. I'll be like, oh, and by the way, Greg and I are going to do a panel. I don't know on what. Just put us up there.
Yeah, let them know.
Okay.
See how that works for you.
Okay. I think they'll be thrilled. They're going to be like, who is this Mimi Chan person? She got Nicholas Scott, Gene. Well, Gene was already going. Probably Phil, Kelly Sue, and now you.
They should be able to figure this out. So
right, the dots are connecting. Anyway, it's been really great. And I won't reveal all the fun things with Historia because I think I'm going to do that with Kelly Sue. But I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I keep saying things and they're coming true. She's like, quick, manifest this, I was like, oh. So I'm on a roll, and I don't know if I should be slowing down or speeding up, but
I would enjoy it while you can.
Mm-hmm. Especially where I live, right? So
just in life,
yes.
Enjoy it while you can. So
100%. You've been a busy bee.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about the Forge, and I'm gonna have the guys on. We're gonna have a chat, and we're gonna do the whole bit, but. This seemed like it was like, oh, not a secret project, but wow, okay, now you've done yet another thing. Here you go. In all your spare time.
Development for a really long
time. Yeah. Okay. It just feels like it came out of nowhere to me, but
no, it did come out of nowhere, but that's kind of the way I wanted it. I don't. I've had a bad habit. There are two bad habits in my career that I can name right now. And the first is projects get announced too far in advance. And I get uncomfortable with that. Like, I don't want to talk about a thing coming out a year or two before it comes out. Mm-hmm. And then the second is things don't get finished. So, Lazarus is a great example of that right now, right? Mm-hmm. We are in hold on Lazarus. Michael is beavering away, but he's got a lot more issues that have to be drawn before we even go to Image and say we're ready to come back.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
We're doing it, but I don't want to even give a date at this point because things happen and schedules get bent and, people get sick and family emergencies arise and you just, there's no way.
World pandemics happen. I mean, these things just.
Exactly. Occur. So it's like, and it's the same thing with Black Magic. It'll come back.
Yes.
And when it comes back, my intent is it comes back to finish. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about when, because until we're ready to pull that trigger, I don't want to burn it. Cully Hamner and I have been working on something that we started working on, I want to say in like 2018. Mm-hmm. And he has finished issue 1 now and is drawing issue 2.
Wow.
Right? And that's not to say it took him 4 years to draw issue 1.
Wow, there were issue.
There were other things going on, but I've been leery of even talking about it. He was at C2E2 and he was like showing some peers the pages and so on. And when he told me, I was like, "Don't do that."
Yeah.
And he was like, "What? Why?" And I was like, "That's a me thing."
Yeah. Like,
but I was kind of alarmed. I was like, don't let anybody know until we're ready to do it.
Right.
Which is silly of me, but it's also that sense of, dude, it took us 4 years to get issue 1 done. Let's wait until we've got enough that we can solicit.
Yeah.
And that's not again, that's not putting anything on him. It's like, if all goes well, this thing will be coming out this fall, right?
Ooh, okay.
If all goes well. But I cannot guarantee things won't happen. So I we Eric and I had the idea for the Forge for years and years.
Yeah.
And we'll do the collective talk, so I don't want to get into it too much.
Of course.
But as with most things, we couldn't find an artist, and we had found we had an artist, and then he wasn't into it. I mean, the honest to God, he kind of passive aggressively just didn't pursue it.
Okay.
And so it was fallow for a really long time until I kind of went, you don't want to do it. That's fine. And was sitting opposite Mike. Because Mike and I, and Aaron Duran and Matthew Clark get together for coffee, or at least used to get together for coffee every week. I was literally sitting opposite him at coffee at one point. I was like, would you want to draw this? Like, he was the perfect choice, literally sitting right in front of me.
Yeah. That's.
And I told Eric, I was like, you think Mike Henderson? And he was like, oh my God. So all of a sudden the thing had gone from years of idea and development to, we need to now write a script, and we need to figure out how we're doing this, and so on.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited to talk more about it. So edgy and fun, and
it's silly.
It's not silly.
Oh no, it is. It's absolutely silly.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I like it.
But it's silly fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I mean,
and I don't think it's silly, by the way, for you to be like, I don't want to talk about anything until it's, kind of in that space, because you're right. A lot can happen. And I get a little, dare I say, superstitious about stuff like that. Even with this bill, I've been like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Or, all the stuff. Like I think, not the word, not routine, but I have kind of a ritual of things I need to do for things to like make sure they go well. And if I'm out of that, and I'm a creature of habit, as you know, so it's a whole bit. So
no,
you have a process, you have a work process, and it works for you. I
absolutely get it. And I don't want to, it's just, I don't want to spoil, you know what I mean? I don't want to spoil it. So,
oh my gosh.
And there's also, I think there's also a marketing element to it as well, which is, I don't want to spend what little excitement capital I have too early.
Right.
And, it's interesting, the Forged, and I admit absolutely that I hurt myself in this. My disengagement from social media means a lot of people didn't even know the book was coming.
Right.
And one of the reasons it sold out is because people didn't know the book was coming. And in particular, retailers didn't know the book was coming. So retailers didn't order it heavily. So when people came in and said, do you have this?
Yeah.
Right. A lot of stores were like, have what? And then they were sort of scrambling to order it in. We sold out within, we were doing a signing it was about 2 p.m. on the West Coast here, right? Which means it was 5 o'clock on the East Coast.
Yeah.
That's when we found out the book was sold out at Diamond. That was on the Wednesday it came out. It sold out by 5 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock. Literally, the retailer whose store it was came and said, well, I can't get any. Diamond's out. There are no copies left.
Wow.
Now, that's exciting and wonderful.
It's exciting. Yeah.
But it also happens because people didn't know about it, except for really
the Discord.
Well, fans, like there was clearly a readership that went into their store and said, I want this book. And people were like,
they were able to order.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Well, I feel like we could find a way to, balance this social media. I'm just going to do a takeover account, and I'm like, hi, I am impersonating Greg Rucka today.
All right.
Looks a
That's
little
fine.
different. That's okay.
Yeah, just a
Here's
lot
what's
of
coming
anger,
up. Here's
a
what's
lot of
coming up this
anger.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you
a
hear
lot
the
of anger
Bendis?
and occasionally
Did you
panels.
hear the Bendis episode?
No.
With you need to, because he talks about you.
Oh God, me and my rage.
Yeah, well, it was funny. No, it was in a good way. It was in a good way, but you need to hear the Bendis episode.
I was supposed to, this gives you an idea of why you and I haven't spoken since November. Brian and I were supposed to get together with Matt in, I want to say late January. We had been like, we'll just have one of our evenings.
Right.
It's almost May. We haven't done it.
Yes. Yes.
I went so deep into the bunker. It was, yeah. I mean, I got a text from Kelly Sue about a month ago being like, "Hi, are you alive?" And I was kind of like, "Hi, are you?" You know, so
yeah. And they live there. They live in your town. So
that's exactly it. I have not seen these people I saw Matt in early January.
Right. Yeah.
That was the last time I saw any of them. So I miss them.
Yes, of course. I know. I mean, I told Oscar, I go, I have Greg today. And there were some other things that could have come up. I'm like, nope, everything's canceled. Greg said he could meet me. Nothing's stopping me. I need my dose.
I need that hour.
I need that hour with Greg. I miss him so much. Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like not whole if I don't talk to you. I mean, we were talking so often that it was like, oh, I'm having withdrawals.
Yeah.
But it's been a minute. Yeah. But we've both been pretty busy, obviously.
And it's also that sense of sort of looking up and going, how the hell did we get to the end of April?
Right?
Like genuinely.
The first quarter's gone.
Exactly. And it was like, how?
Yes.
I mean, was I like this literally the whole time? It has zipped by. And yeah, I'm kind of hoping the year will slow down just a little, just a scooch, a scooch.
No, so. I feel that. Yeah. But it's, I'm like, I was so shocked when I went to look today at how long. And then I was just like, but if you look at all the months, it's been nonstop. And I've texted with you here and there. I'm just like, hello. You're like, in deep to the bunker. I'm like, all right, I'll see you in a few weeks. And then I'll like check in again. And I always want to be mindful of that.
I was on a deadline for a project that had just gone. How do I describe this? And I have to be vague.
Okay.
I was working on a project for a production company. And it had come to me initially because I had done some work on something else. And these people reached out and said, we're having trouble with this script. Will you read it and let us know what you would do? And I said, okay. So normally, and Angela does not, like, if Angela had her way, I would only be doing my things, right? I would not be working on adapting somebody else's novels or doing. Right. So she was a little, she was like, are you sure? I said, I like these people. I want to keep, I'm happy. So I read it and I was like, I see the problem. So we got on a call and I said, this is the difficulty here.
Right.
And they said, how would you solve it? And I said, I do this and I do this and I do this. And the next thing I knew, there was paperwork and they were like, will you do a rewrite? So this thing had already been rewritten and then rewritten already.
Ooh.
And what I had proposed was basically, was very fundamental. So I had to rewrite the whole thing.
Yes.
And I had to rewrite the whole thing while I was in Italy on Tog 2. And that finally went in October, and I didn't get notes back until mid-December. And the notes weren't super helpful. Like they knew what they wanted. Most of the time when you get notes, you also get an email with the notes, right? Somebody will have written up. So you have like a document to work from. And I never got that. And some of the things that they were after, and I understood why, but it was like, this is a completely different story now if you want me to deliver this. And so I kept running at it, and it was literally like running into a brick wall over and over and over again.
Yeah.
For months. And then finally saw how to do it. And the second I saw how to do it, I was like, oh, boom, the whole thing went.
Right.
But it was very, and I have here's the thing. They have it now. They're giving it to the people they need to give it to. I don't know if they like it or not. I just know that I gave them something good. Like I am certain that if it doesn't happen, if I get fired, if they get yet somebody else to play with it, all good. I know the thing I gave them was a good thing.
Right. I actually remember you telling me about this too, back in, that's why I was like, is this the same one or another one? And
no, it's the same one. Okay, got it. It was grueling. And then there have been a couple other things, there's another project that I actually, what time is it? Yeah. I'll walk the dog and then I'll work on that.
Okay.
I've got a thing I got to get done by tomorrow and some other stuff. So it's been busy. It's been good.
Yeah.
And then of course there's all the stuff that happens, when you're not working, everything with family and, so
everyone's well though.
Everybody's doing better.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We've had a bumpy time.
Oh,
and it's been bumpy. It's been bumpy top to bottom.
Okay.
The girls have had, it seems like when one of them's in ascendance, the other one's in decline.
Yes.
And I would really like to get them in sync.
Yes.
And preferably in sync on the rise.
Yes.
Marlo is announcing that the mail has come. Yeah.
The mail has come.
Yep.
It's because Marlo misses me. Marlo's like, wait, what?
You say that, she's going to maul you when you get here. She's going to be, oh my God, you're back. I love you. She's going to do that thing.
Get my good side.
She's going to do that thing where, she's doing the tail waggle so much that her butt is sort of sliding around.
I'm going to have to bring Oscar with me so he can help contain her.
Oh, yeah. No, she will. I already know that I will be going down, because she's going to try to, hug you.
I love it so much. Oh my gosh.
I am not lying. It will happen.
I know.
Bring a camera. You can film it. It will happen.
Yeah, we should do that. That'll be good for the, for the social media that you're not
exactly.
on. That'll be the takeover. Your social will be just like random things of Marlo, and it'll just be Marlo's social, actually.
Look, it's funny. We had a signing for the second issue of The Forge here in town. So Eric came down and we were driving over, and I won't have any actually, it's not even a thing. He set up all the email for this. So all of the emails that come to the book, all of the emails that come to Ask Evil, come to him, and then he forwards them. Okay. And by far, the greatest volume of email we have gotten are dog submissions for Evil Likes Dogs. Like literally, it's easily 90% of the correspondence have been dog pictures. And I'm like, I have no problem with that, and they're great pictures. It's not like somebody's gone, here's my blurry. The people who are sending in their pictures of their dogs, they're beautiful.
Wow.
And so we're like, we're going to keep doing this. And Eric was like, yeah. I said, it seems to be really successful. He says, yes, it's called pandering. And I was like, yeah, I suppose we did a bit, but
Oh my
We
gosh.
actually got a cat submission too.
Oh,
Which I think somebody was sort of, I think, objecting that evil does not seem well disposed towards cats.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I really kind of want to, and somebody said, does evil not like cats? And I think the response was evil is ambivalent to cats.
Okay.
But I really should have written evil does not like the competition.
I like that. Of course. And so for our listeners, you're going to have to read The Forge to know what the heck we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And please read that also before our next podcast where we got the whole crew on.
Yeah, where we do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Evil is the artificial intelligence that this team, when basically large portions of this far future empire run on. And it stands for Evolve Virtual Intelligence and Logistics. But come on, how cool, how much, I won't even say cool. It tells you everything you need to know about the book that the AI is named Evil. And evil isn't actually a plot point. Evil's just part of the world.
Right, yes. So. Yes, I actually, and I can't remember if we were on or off camera or like what comics are you reading right now, but I just had Cliff Chang on and he's like, oh, love The Forged. So awesome.
That's lovely.
Just so you to know. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Cause I was like, I need to catch up with my pal Greg, cause I'm always like, who, what one of your friends want to come on? One of your collaborators want to come on? And he's like, well, who do you normally talk to? I'm like, Greg Rucka.
A lot.
Way
too much.
Yeah, no, never enough. But I want you to know he totally complimented, and I don't remember if it was on air or off air. So I wanted to say that. Like Cliff
is one of those artists that I have tried to work with so many times, and it never lands. Like we always. The timing. The schedules just never line up.
It will. You want me to manifest that?
You know what? Let's wait until I have a project.
Okay.
So, that's the other thing is I need to start. There are so many irons in the fire right now. I do not need to take on another one.
All right.
Comics, let's get these things done.
Agreed.
Before I get started on something else.
Agreed. I mean, the one that brought us here obviously is the one I'm so excited about the most.
Look,
yes.
The only positive I can take out of a Writers Guild strike is I'm going to get a whole bunch of comic strips written.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
And fair warning, I'm coming to you in September for my Lazarus wall. I'm just going to come to your house and just steal stuff.
Okay. Well, hook you up. You know
I'm
what?
I'm bringing an empty luggage and I'm going to go shopping at Greg's house. Oh my gosh. He's going over to the bookshelf. He's coming back. What's happening?
Do you have any of these?
No, I don't have anything because I'm always like, I don't want anything if it's not signed. So I'm not going to get it till I go there. No.
The Lazarus sniper at work.
I am bringing an empty luggage. This is all I'm saying. And Oscar's coming, so he can carry all my luggage. Yeah.
And then our favorite hawk sign.
Yeah.
51st.
They're gonna think I'm in. If you're like,
these actually I should just bundle up and ship to you. We have all of these, and this is the problem with not doing shows, right?
Yes.
Is that we have the stock.
Well, everyone, you heard it here. Greg Rucka is going to be at Rose City Comic Con, so come on.
Yes,
out.
if you want metal signs for Black Magic or Lazarus, let us know. Yes,
come on down. Let us know in advance so he knows to pack it in the car, bring it over, because otherwise he's not. He's not going to just drag everything there, So here you go.
This dog, oh my God.
I know. Your dog is very
She
excitable.
wants to talk to you, clearly.
I know she does. Tell her soon, so soon. Very soon. But are you excited about the Old Guard 2 coming out soon?
It's not soon. It'll be sometime next year. So.
Oh, I thought it was summer.
No. Okay, summer is so Heart uninformed. Of Stone. Summer is Heart of Stone.
Okay. Got it.
Old Guard 2 right now is sometime in 2024. I don't have a date.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Was
it originally this summer? Or am I way off?
I have no idea.
Okay. I'm very likely way off. They don't tell you anything.
They don't tell me.
I got it.
They're still working on it. Yeah.
So it's in post, yes?
It's in post. Yeah.
Yeah. People don't realize how long post takes.
Yeah. And it may, I mean, there may be reshoots. I don't know. I mean, I genuinely don't know. So I talk to Mark Evans every so often. He gives me a call and he says, here you go. And this is what we know. And I've seen a couple cuts.
Yeah.
And I've given my notes.
Okay.
It is a whole process. And I benefit from being in Portland.
Yeah. I know you do. But it's good because I really like to hear that you're working on things because that just benefits all of us as readers and whatnot. So it's a good thing.
The things that I can exert, those things that I can manifest some quality control on, I will. You know what I mean? I love it. Hollywood is a very strange animal. It's just such a strange animal. And, I guess we're coming up on really 5 years of sort of since I really sort of started swimming in that particular pond. Mm-hmm. And I am still learning how to swim in that pond.
Well, you've done great so far. So
you know what? You say that there's a difference. I have done very well in keeping busy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's not like there's been a whole long list of things that have actually made it through the world. And that's a different part of it, right? Because working, there are plenty of writers in Hollywood who are very successful and never get anything made, but they're able to make a living doing it. So, I'm very lucky in that regard. And like I say, Heart of Stone comes out, this summer. Cool. And my name's on it.
Yeah. So, I know, you know me, and I'll take a screenshot of when your name comes up and I'll send it to you. That whole bit.
You don't actually need to do that.
I know, but I find it fun.
Okay. All right. I don't need the evidence. I will, I'll know.
I know, but I'm like, look what I'm doing now. That's an interesting thing because a lot of people are like, oh, it's fine. I'm working, my stuff doesn't come out, but I make a living, like you said, and I don't know that I could be satisfied with that. Like, that's not my personality, right? Like, I would be very, very frustrated, which is probably why I didn't survive in Hollywood for very long. Like, oh, my pilot never came out or whatever. Yeah. But it's not even that. I just feel like I'm such a, result-based person, right? Like I want to do this work and then I see the results. I feel like that equals that, and it's so hard. Like, it's such a hard thing.
You have to sort of define your work in that sense, right? Because I had a moment, I think it was in January. I was getting, because I get, copies of screenplays and so on during award season. And I was flipping through one of these screenplays that's up, and the movie really doesn't matter which it was. What was important is that I was flipping through the submitted documents that they had sent to everybody for the award season, right? To say this is nominated for best screenplay, read it. Mm-hmm. And I'm flipping through it and there wasn't an original page in it. Every single page was marked as a different color revision, right? And when you do a screenplay in production, the way production knows this page is now a revised page is that it's printed on a different color and there's a set number of colors. And when you hit the end of those colors, you go back again. So you have like salmon, and then 20 revisions later, you'll have double salmon, and 20 later, you'll have triple salmon, right? And like I say, Oscar-winning or Oscar-nominated screenplay. And I'm looking through it, and they're double pink and triple yellow. And I had this moment of going, see, and it's not the same writer is the thing. And this is crucial. Like the writer's name on the credits, sometimes if it's, say, Rian Johnson, it's going to be Rian Johnson.
Okay.
Right? Because Rian Johnson is also directing it and producing it. And nobody is saying or doing a thing in that movie that Rian Johnson has not decided they need to say or do.
Right.
Most movies aren't like that. And that means that you are getting revisions made by the director, by an actor, by an assistant, by another writer who was brought in. So like your name can be on it. It can say Mimi wrote it. Mm-hmm. There were 20 other people who rewrote large swaths of it. I mean, I'm talking about huge amounts of the document.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to then have that level of alteration that doesn't change. Like at that point, it's like, well, it's not what you wrote, right? So where emotionally and intellectually do you get your satisfaction, right? Because if my value is you're changing my stuff, right? At a certain point, that's part of the process.
Right.
And you have to accept it, which means that, and then you have a choice. If you accept it and you're remaining, okay, then you have to come to a peace with it. And if you're not accepting it, you got to get out because the system and that process is not going to change.
Right, right.
So the satisfaction, and it was a moment for me looking at this, and I realized, oh, like all the angst and agita and anxiety and pain I feel looking at, all this stuff that's, quote, done to my work.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that's true. But at the same time, that's not where, like, I can't invest my self-worth in that. My self-worth has to be invested in the document I created at the start that I honed and sharpened and perfected to the best of my ability, that got to a point that 1,000 people were employed to execute that vision. Now, what happened after that point, I have very little to no control over. And and this is to say, the movie's in post. I don't know what that movie's going to be at the end.
Right.
If every movie is made 3 times, right? If it's made at the script stage and it's made in production and then it's made in post, this really has been 3 different movies. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the goal is that the post will match the screenplay or at least honor it. Mm-hmm. But not the director. I am an executive producer. So I have no control here.
Yeah.
And no and no way to exert it. So yeah, it'll be what it'll be. Mm-hmm. And I hope it will be something that everybody is proud of.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's an interesting thing because it's so collaborative. And maybe because you come from comics and you're so used to everything is very collaborative, unless it's like one of those where it's like you do all of it. Like, I know some creators are like, I'm writing, I'm lettering, I'm this, I'm drawing, like Stan Sakai. It's like, there's my page. Yeah. And now he's finally letting people color and things. Yeah. Like, it took a while though, right? But like for the most part though, comics is very much collaboration. I think almost every creator I talk to, I love hearing about the collaboration because I find it such a fascinating thing in terms of like everyone works so different, but it's integral to the medium. Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of collaboration. I like part of the reason I stopped doing novels.
Yes.
Is because they're non-collaborative, or my experience of them was non-collaborative. Yeah. I understand that there are editors out there who work closely with authors, talk with them. My editor for years and years never wanted to hear from me until I had a manuscript to give her.
Yeah.
And then she would type up notes and send it back, and that would be that. There would be no conversations. And it killed me. And one of the most exciting things about comics was not only was it collaborative, it was quick. You write a novel, you got to wait 12 to 18 months before it hits the world. You are in a completely different place.
Yeah.
You write a comic, especially if you're on the DC treadmill, 3 months later, you're seeing what people think.
Mm-hmm.
I love the collaborative process. When it works, you create something that's greater than the sum of its parts. When it doesn't, you get an erosion. Hollywood is more prone to erosion.
Yes, I would agree with this.
Because there's more money involved, there are bigger egos involved.
Yeah.
And Hollywood rewards failure in a way that no other industry I've ever seen does. It's staggering to me the way careers thrive.
Right.
When when clearly like the work has been horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We see it even in the end result. You're like, how did this get made?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very strange. And like I said, I mean, and this, because I totally get when you talk about like, because you're abandoning so much control over the end result. Mm-hmm. And there are very few people who can control that result. There are the Nolans and the Scorseses and the Ryan Johnsons, and you look at you look at what Gina went to do, after Old Guard, and that's her finally really being able to control it.
Yeah.
And you see the benefits. Mm-hmm. But I'm also, the day I've only worked with Gina. I can't speak to how collaborative those others are. Yeah. I suspect Johnson's very collaborative. I suspect that his ability to, put a foot down and say, we're doing it this way.
Yeah.
Is not dictatorial, but rather, okay, we have taken everything and now we're going to execute.
Yeah.
There are people who say it's my way or the highway, and that's that. Mm-hmm. All the time, and you see the results.
Yeah. I will say I just had the pleasure of speaking with your sister, Nicola, and, she talked about collaborating with you. So that was fun.
He's terrific. And Michael, in the same way, Michael's terrific.
Oh, yes. Obviously, we know Michael.
And Leo. And so, one of the things Cully and I have been talking about as we're working on this thing is, yeah, you know what? We work really well together. We did on the Renee Question stuff back in the day, and this is kind of more of that. Like, and a lot of that and this is the other thing. Good collaboration requires trust.
Yeah.
Right. Like Eric, Mike, and I. There's no lack of trust there, right? Mm-hmm. Hollywood foments distrust. So it makes good collaboration that much more challenging.
Right.
Not impossible, but that much more challenging.
Yeah. It's not conducive to it. It's just, let's see. It's like almost that's where luck does come in. Yeah. I think more so with Hollywood. They always say, it's luck. And
did you find the right people and so on? And
yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't take a lot of wrong people to ruin a thing. So.
So true. So true. In anything.
Yeah. And this brings us back to visiting Tallahassee. So
it's been hard on the soul. I'm going to admit. I feel conflicted because I know that I'm doing this thing that is worthy and will have long lasting effects and everything. But at the same time, I feel a little bit of a sellout, I'll be honest, because there has been causes that I can't necessarily fight for in the way I normally would in terms of advocacy and activism, because I have to just stay focused on this one thing. In addition to, I'm literally the face of the bill. Like I walk into there and legislators know who I am. And if I feel like if I'm too much vocal on one thing, it could jeopardize. And I'm like dying for this to be over so I can just kind of get back to myself.
Cut loose.
Yeah. I just the 6-week abortion ban, the don't say gay bill, I'm losing my mind But it's also been a little helpful to compartmentalize, be like, you know what, I can't even think about that. I have to just keep doing this thing because otherwise it would just eat away at me. Right. Yeah. And so, but it's been hard to not fight for those things in the way I normally would. I can do it in the background and do my stuff, but I would normally be very vocal. Right. Yeah. And I don't like politics. I know that for sure now.
Yeah. That's not where you want to be, but you are doing, but you know what, warrior woman, sometimes you fight fights you don't want to fight.
Yeah.
It's because they have to be fought.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully it's almost over. So
I am, I look forward to hearing on the 5th.
Yes, absolutely.
I expect to hear on the 5th.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'll tell you before that too, because I mean, it'll quote unquote pass through both chambers before then, I think, and that's technically official. But the signing, I don't know when the signing is or how that even works. I'm just trying to take it day by day. And I'm sure you do the same. It's like, okay, today is this, and so let's see what that holds. Ever-changing environments.
I should. We should be able to get back on our more regular schedule.
Very nice. Love to hear that. Your fans, and I know you think I'm lying, but they miss you.
But yeah, fans? You mean fan? Yeah. No. Okay.
People, when is the Mimi and Greg show coming back? You guys haven't talked in a while. I'm like in my, my very small Patreon, pod. They're amazing humans. One of them, right? But like, promise Greg Rucka's coming back soon. Well, we're still friends, really.
Well, get the Q&A set up and we'll do that next time.
Okay. So. Sounds good. All right, everybody. Greg Rucka, Mimi and Greg show's back. Yay.
It was great to see you, Mimi. Time. Give my best to your whole family. Please say hi to Oscar, everybody.
Likewise. All right. Until next time. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Please subscribe and rate my podcast on your platform of choice and leave a review. You can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to help keep this podcast going. Follow me and interact on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.